Okay, so I owe $303,000 for student loans.
Consequences of my own actions.
Student loan debt is still out of control. Let's get into it. All right, so this girl right here in particular, you're probably like, why did you put this up? Well, she's $200,000 in debt for a physics degree. She graduated magna cum laude. I don't think anybody really cares about that. She built a heart monitor with her bare hands, and now she's a barista. How did we end up here? Well, digging through her social media, the only reason why she's really here is because she wants to pursue a music degree. That's why. So she is essentially saving up all of her money to just do music, and she doesn't want to work in the field that she got a degree in. So, like, why get the degree? I understand you get burnout, but at least try and pay off the student loans. But she thinks that will get too much in the way of her music career, which takes up too much time. Who are these people? I'm telling you, it never ends. And the next one's going to be someone who has a pretty equally motivating story, spending $200,000 to go to culinary school. Great investment. Just, I mean, top.
Will I get over it? No. But life goes on. Not for me.
It's funny that he said life goes on in the earlier video at the Titanic. I will go on. You're here. But actually, this guy failed so hard. He made it on to Dr. Phil.
My next guest, Bradley, says he has $147,000 in student loan debt and says there have been times
It's $200,000 now. So crushing it, this guy.
where the stress of the payments have destroyed his life.
There was a version of me before my student loan debt and after my student loan debt. I never got back to myself after falling into this situation. I got my first loan at the age of 17 when I started culinary school. Before my 21st birthday, I was in over $130,000 of student loan debt. My student loan payment is $915. I paid in full every month. In order to make my monthly payment and to keep up with my student loan debt, I do work at a nonprofit teaching financial literacy. I work on a crisis hotline, I do dog sitting, I clean houses. There's kind of almost nothing I'm not willing to do just to be able to earn money to try to make my situation better.
Notice how he didn't say a cook. He's like, I'll do almost anything. What about using your degree? No, why would I do that? Why would I do that?
I've paid about $70,000 towards my student loan debt, and it's only increased. I still owe more now than when I originally started paying 10 years ago. To be so young in so much debt after everyone encouraged you to go to college and to get your degree, it was the worst decision I could have made. It got so bad to the point where I felt like the only way this problem is going to go away is if I go.
It has to be so cringy to do these shoots because they were like, here, go on that park bench and just do. Just look like you're having like some sort of mental breakdown for the camera if you could for us. Like, why do they do these segments?
Go away. And I really thought at one point when it was at its worst that that would be the only solution.
Bradley, thanks for being here. You say
Oh,
that
no, he's
taking out
crying.
your loans for college is one of the biggest regrets of your life.
To this day, still is the biggest regret of my life. I was 17 years old and a senior in high school, and I knew I wanted to go to culinary school. And I thought, if I want to be the best and have the best future, I should go to the best school. And it was the top culinary school in America.
Probably also the most expensive school. Probably not, funny enough, the best. It's probably just the most expensive. Which people do associate with the best, right? If you buy a bottle of wine and it's more expensive, you're like, this clearly has to be better. Even though if you're a wine drinker, you know that is not the case. Price does not equal quality. People just assume that. So that's called like premium pricing. Sometimes people do that with like clothing too. It's funny, if you put two shirts in front of someone, they could be the same shirt, but if you make one like $10 and another one $150, people will just naturally think the $150 one is just a better shirt because it's more expensive. So people can, like, funny enough, hustle you by making something more expensive, and you're like, wow, it must be that much better, when it's not. I don't know if this is 100% the case because I don't know what culinary school we went to, but $130,000 for culinary school seems insane.
And I have lived with this for the past 10 years of my life, and the last thing that this degree has done was pay off immediately.
And you say it's destroyed your mental health.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like I did everything right to set myself up for success in my future, only to realize getting my college degree absolutely destroyed any future that I thought that I had for myself. And it wasn't until a week before graduation that they set up an exit interview through the school, and they sat me down and said, okay, congratulations, your student loan payment's going to be $1,400 a month. Yeah. And there was no conversation beforehand. When you take out the loans, no one gave any financial education to explain this is what interest means, this is what compounding interest means. I know.
Well, at 17, you didn't understand all of that.
Who does?
I think you have to undergo a mandatory course when you sign up for your student loans, through FAFSA at least. I know they made us go through it. He probably just clicked right through it. And this was, I'm assuming he's the same age. I'm 34. But you had to. And it explained, like, hey, this is what interest means. This is what your payments are going to be like. Make sure that you feel like the degree you're going into is going to be worth it. Like, and you will owe these payments. This is what, like, in estimate, they even made you do like a trial thing where they're like, if you take out $50,000, your payments are going to be this for this long. Like, you had to do that when you did FAFSA. It's mandatory before they'll even give you your loans. But I mean, once again, this guy, he knew what interest was. It's not like he's like, whoa, dude, what's a loan? You got to pay loans back? That's crazy, man. There's no way. I didn't know that. It's like kind of what he said is he's like, my degree didn't instantly pay back my loans. Like, everybody just overestimates their income after the loans. That is the problem. People do know how loans work. They do. They just overestimate their income, and they're like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just work, pay it off. They also don't take into account taxes. I don't know how many times I've heard people, because I have a someone shadowing me right now, and I was like, how much do you think you're going to take out for student loans? And she's going to take out about $180 to go to dental school. That is sick. That is awesome. She's doing the right thing. And I was like, you know, how long do you think you'll be able to pay that back? And she was like, oh, well, you know, if I make like $150, I can pay that back in 2 years. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's not how that works. One, like, the government's going to take about a quarter to a third of that based on how she does her taxes. So that's gone, right? So you only have 100,000, and then, like, you're going to have to live off that. And then we have, like, you know, kind of a lot of insurance to pay. You got disability. Disability insurance is insane. It's like $500 a month. And funny enough, if you are a woman dentist, usually it's way more expensive because for whatever reason, women's hands get way more messed up than men's hands in dental work. So sometimes they have to pay like double, sometimes triple for disability insurance. So I was like, you know, when you add all that in, like maybe you only have $30,000 extra dollars to throw at this a year. It's still going to take you like a while. But that's what I would say the biggest issue is with these student loans. People just greatly overestimate how quick they can pay it back or how much just income they're even going to have to pay it back.
Does. I know adults who don't even have a budget because they don't know how to. So we're relying on teenagers to understand what all of this means.
And you say you've been living like you're mentally homeless. You haven't purchased clothes, holes in your shoes.
Yeah, it could be embarrassing for folks. I'm very proud to say that I am wearing the shoes that I've had since 2012. They do have holes in them, and it represents what I dedicated my life to, because even though I took on this student loan debt, not really realizing the mess I was making and hoping that my degree was going to pay off, I made the sacrifices to live this way, to try to turn my situation
Have you ever missed
around.
a payment?
No, I've made my payments in full on time, but because of the high interest and it compounds daily, every time I make that payment, by the time it's ready to make my next payment, it grew back. So I'm doing everything by the book. I'm working.
So that means he's on an income-based repayment plan. And even though he is making the full payments, it would be kind of impossible for, well, not impossible, but he should be able to make them because it's based on his income. But they should kind of force these people to go under a 10-year plan. Because if you can't make the payments off in 10 years, like, it shouldn't be allowed. This is like allowing people to have like a mortgage or something where it just goes on to infinity. It's crazy.
hard, I'm making my payments full, I'm making them on time, but the system is set up to keep you in the system. It's not set up for you to succeed.
Okay, so you borrowed about 130, you've paid in 70,
Yes,
and you still owe how much?
$147,000 to this day.
Okay, but when you got out, did you get a job in your profession?
Yes, yeah.
How much were you
Oh, he
being
did.
paid an hour?
That job, I believe, was $12 an hour. I lived this way with holes in my shoes because I wanted to save every dollar I could to try to make my situation
If you're a chef, can you let me know, is that normal to go to like supposedly the best culinary school in the country and then immediately get a job for $12 an hour? Like that doesn't seem normal. I would think that degree would help you get like nice chef jobs. Or at least like maybe you made $12 an hour, but then they rapidly move you up just to make sure you're good, right? Because it's like kind of a skills-based thing where they're like, hey, we don't know how good you are yet. But like that just seems crazy. $12 an hour seems kind of wild. Supposedly if you have such a great degree.
better because no one was going to help me. You can't just return your college degree. Once you got it, you got it.
So the return on
wasn't pretty.
investment wasn't there.
No, and it's so frustrating that people say, well, why did you do it? Well, how about you look at the culinary school's website that says not only will it pay off immediately, but getting this degree is going to potentially earn you much more than other culinary
Well, if it was on the website, it has to be true.
Thank you, Dr. Phil. Exactly. The people tried to sell you on the degree, fluffed you up a little bit. Like,
But that's the predatory part, that they're selling the dream, but you bought the lie.
but that's all advertising. All advertising is that, right? Buy this fancy car and look, girls will like you. Buy this fancy car, you know, make your neighbors jealous. Buy your wife a car for Christmas and she'll love you forever. Like, buy her a big diamond, you know, it's the basis of a marriage. Like, this is just all advertising. You can't be like, well, they lied to me. They advertised something and it wasn't exactly true.
So the question is, should student loans be forgiven?
Probably not. Let's go to the next one. I kind of feel sad for that guy though, because he did really try. You know what I mean? He's out there trying. He's just made a silly decision as a kid and he has to live with it, which that is part of life, right? If you're a kid and you make a dumb decision, like you are responsible for that. But I mean, you made those decisions. You have to live with those consequences. That is life. You can't just get bailed out for every bad decision you make because someone else is essentially paying for that bad decision you make. And the only person who should pay for the bad decision you make is you.
I owe over $300,000 in student loans.
Shoot.
Let me tell you how. So I'm a nurse practitioner. My husband is a pharmacist.
Stop it.
My husband went to private school for his entire pharmacy school. I went to a public university for my nursing degree and then a private school for my nurse practitioner degree. We both took out student loans for everything. You know, at 18, you think you're going to be able to pay everything back because both of those jobs make good money. So why am I complaining? This economy is just so expensive right now. I know it's our fault, I guess, for taking out all these loans, but I would love to be able to pay them off. So here I am on TikTok working to have extra income. So I would love if you follow me along on this journey to paying off our loans and just, you know, living life the best we can in the current circumstances. So tell me how much you owe in student loans and if you regret it.
Wait a second. So, nurse practitioner and a pharmacist couple, they're easily clearing 150. Like the pharmacist is going to be 100. She should be at least 50, if not $100,000. So they have I would say honestly, they probably have $200,000 worth of income. They should be able to pay off that $300K student loan. And then she's like, oh yeah, well, this is making me go to TikTok. No, she just wants to be kind of TikTok famous and pay it off and use that to help grow a TikTok following, which apparently I am helping because I'm giving her views. But you want to know what she could do to make extra income to help pay it off? I think nurses can get tons of overtime. I don't know about pharmacy. Maybe you could do like a weekend job, but you could just work more. But she was like, nah, I'd rather just film myself and be like, you know, student loan debt's crazy. Like and follow my video so I can pay it off. Man, TikTok, I'm telling you, the social media. And then like to put that out there to say like we're struggling while making like I said, at least there's no way they're making less than 150 as a couple, unless one of them is not employed. So like, to be like, oh, woe is us, woe is us, we owe this money, but we're still making tons of income. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, some of this stuff is totally tone deaf. And then if you're like a TikTok person, or and then to make TikToks being like, guys, help me pay down this debt. It's like, dude, you have a great job. You're not even in a bad situation. Okay? Like, what about the guy who got the culinary degree? Okay? He's trying his ass off. He's the one who should be getting all the views. Like, I mean, come on, dude. Get out of here.
Thankfully, my student loans are in forced forbearance right now, but if you are delinquent in your student loans, just know that they just announced that starting May 5th, the government is going to start to go after those that have delinquent statuses for their loans. For others...
Did y'all hear that? Was that another fire alarm? Dude, there might be a correlation with debt and fire alarms.
For their loans. For others, like myself, who are in the SAVE program, what are you doing? How are you preparing for this? Are you trying to get out of the SAVE program if you're able to, or you're just waiting out all the legislation and see how that pans out? I'm in the student loan forgiveness program. I graduated in 2016 from pharmacy school. My balance at that point was around a little over 200,000, as you can see up there, with all the interest that has accrued.
She graduated in 2016. This video came out literally a month ago. Oh my God. So she's been making payments. She's been making payments for 9 years. And she hasn't done anything to them. They've only gone up. This is crazy. She's a pharmacist. She makes $100,000 a year. What?
Since 2016, my loan balance is now over $300,000. So it's not an easy thing to just easily pay off, especially with the cost of everything going up, inflation, etc. So if you're
Funny enough, inflation makes your loans easier to pay off. What?
you're in the SAVE program, what are you doing? Are you just waiting it out?
Dude. So I looked at this other girl's TikToks, okay? What do you think she is doing with her money? Because she can barely, she can't make her student loan payments, but you want to know what she can go to?
Come with me for a solo parenting day at Disney's Hollywood Studios in Orlando. We started at
Can't make
Mickey's
it up.
Railroad Ride. It's great for small kids, but it does move, so if your kid has some motion sickness, it might not be the best. We then went to a character meet and greet. They had Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse. She's still a little scared of the character. The next
Why are we spending money going here? Disney World is so expensive. I understand people have kids. These kids won't remember this. They really won't. I mean, I went to Disney World when I was little. I don't remember it at all. Even my dad said it was like the dumbest thing ever. He was like, we just felt like we had to do it. We did it. And he was like, do you kids even remember that? And I said, no. And he goes, yeah, that's why we never took you back. Like, you kids don't care. He was like, realistically, if I took you kids to the pool, you guys were just like jumping for joy, thrilled. And he would take us to the Coast Guard pool because it was free. He was like, that was all I had to do. Your kids were super excited. You'd run around all day. It was great. You got to exercise. And then, you'd poop yourselves out. It was easy for us. And it didn't cost us a dime. He goes, yeah, we would just go to the pool. And then if we wanted to get super crazy, okay, he would take us camping, which was also free because we just did tent camping. So like, these kids do not need the fanciest vacations. This is mostly for the parents, though. But, man, it's like, dude, the Disney World and debt, like, people who go into debt for Disney World and who have insane amounts of debt have to be, like, interlinked. Like, if you just went to Disney World and asked people how much debt they're in, it's got to be 80% of people are just swimming in debt. And they're like, well, at least we're at Disney World. Happiest place on earth. It's like, dude, these people are drowning you, dude. Mickey is like the ultimate freaking loan shark. He is just taking these people to church.
I'm $500,000 in debt. How am I actually going to pay off these loans? Nobody thought that my joke earlier was funny, which I'm kind of bummed about. No, I'm still going to pay my loans even if I don't want to. So I have like a couple aspects to my loan. I have my government loans, I have my private loans from like undergrad, and then I have like a private loan / scholarship that I'm probably just going to convert to a loan and pay. In regards to my government loans, my plan is that I'm going to be paying the minimum amount and try to get onto the like SAVE plan. And then my plan is to try to do the public service loan forgiveness if it's still around. After 10 years of payments, I'll still probably be paying around $120,000 to $150,000 in those loans, but I'll have $100,000 that should get forgiven. As for the other 2 loans, I currently have them separated. I didn't consolidate them. So the one that is a loan/scholarship, it is through the Inland Empire Health Plan, and this is if you commit to working 5 years in the Inland Empire after graduation, they will pay for your tuition and cancel out all of the accrued interest. When I first went into medical school, I really thought that I wanted to stay in California. However, now that I no longer live in California, my husband and I really like where we're at, and we would rather pay to have the freedom to stay where we are. It would cost a lot to move back, and the cost of living in California is so high that really I don't think that it would make much of a difference. Now, if we decide not to do that, then I would take that loan as well as my undergrad private loans, and I'm going to consolidate them into one, and then I'm going to try to make like monthly payments on those. This should lower the interest rate because my interest rate now is like 7 or 8%, and that should hopefully save me some money. My other plan is that after residency, I plan to work extra shifts higher than the amount for a full-time ED physician. Full-time EM physicians, it's usually around 12 shifts a month to get our like yearly annual salary that you see as like the I don't know the amount that people make. My hope is to continue working like I'm in residency, so working anywhere between 15 to 20 shifts a month, probably erring on the side of like 15 to 18-ish, and then taking all that extra money and dumping it into my student loans. I'm also going to try to get a job that has a nice sign-on bonus so that I can take that lump sum and also put it towards my loans as well. My other plan is to continue to enter the lottery, and hopefully I'll win the lottery and that'll pay them. If you have any other questions regarding medical school,
I'm assuming that lottery thing was a joke because obviously do not do the lottery. Every dollar you give them, 50 cents goes away. It just usually doesn't work out. But she's going to be an ER physician. I, funny enough, know an ER physician. They make like $400,000 a year to $500,000 if they're like, you know, in an in-demand area or are just pulling overtime. But usually they make about $400,000. So that's actually not bad. She'll be able to pay this off. And she already has a plan to, she really won't even have to worry about that. If she is an EM surgeon working the entire time, she should just be able to pay this off within 10 years, easy, while still having, you know, a semi-comfortable life. If she does overtime, she won't even have to worry about it, whether it's there or not. So she should be just fine. The only thing would be is if she does the typical doctor thing of, I went to residency, I live poor, I'm getting paid now, like I can actually spend money, and then she just racks up debt with lifestyle inflation, which is kind of sad because this girl, by the time she starts working, she's going to be like 28, maybe 29. I mean, with going to med school, going to residency, and then starting to work, like you lost so many years of compound interest, and now it's going to be hard for her to save because she's got to pay off this loan. So maybe she starts aggressively saving for retirement when she's like, you know, 33, 34, and you lose a lot of compounding interest. The only benefit is she'll be making like $400,000 a year, you know? So it's, I don't know. These situations, I don't feel as bad because they're making an incredible amount of money. Now, let's see someone who took out even more loans to be one of my favorite careers, a dentist.
You can send.
So looking through this girl's TikTok, she's $600,000 to become a dentist. The only issue with that is dentists, we don't make as much money. We're kind of like lawyers, okay? The base pay, I would say, for a dentist is like $120, and then most probably make between $120 and $180. That's pretty good. That's good money. $600,000 to make that amount of money? That is not worth it. And then she's going to have to pay Grab Plus loans, which I looked it up, are 8 to 9%. So she's going to be paying close to $45,000 to $50,000 in interest every year on her loans. That's incredible. Like it's too much. That's too much to go into dental school. You shouldn't be paying more than $400,000 to go to dental school. And then if you do, you better know a guy who's running a clinic who you can work for, or you have to become a practice owner and just hit the gate running. But, oh, man, $600,000 for a dentist? I mean, You know what I'm saying, dude? I like being a dentist, but I don't like being a dentist that much. That's crazy.
Hey, what's up?
Well, my husband has a student loan. It's $387,000.
Oh, my Lord.
And, yeah, right now he's making $78,000 a year. And after taxes each month, he makes $5,033. And then our total bills.
Yeah, so $60,000 a year, and he owes almost $400,000. That's impossible. He literally can't pay that up. And his bills so he has $1,400 left over.
For the month are $3,630.
Okay, so wait a minute, stop. I'm dying here. If you got a $400,000 student loan, how do you only get a $78,000 income? What in the world?
I don't know.
What's his degree
we obviously
in?
weren't married. He is a chiropractor.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
I hate chiropractors. They're scam artists. They are. Plus, he can make more money. Scamming pays. I don't know why this guy isn't making more money. Maybe he's an honest chiropractor and he just says, like, hey, I'm just giving you a massage, okay? Let's not act like me cracking your back is doing anything. Funny enough, chiropractors will take an x-ray and they'll be like, your spine's out of alignment. Everybody's spine's out of alignment. I've never seen a chiropractor take someone's x-ray of their spine and say it's in alignment. A fun thing you can do with chiropractors is go to a chiropractor, have him do his little x-rays, which, by the way, is irradiating you for no good reason, and he's going to crack you back into place. If only it was that easy, right? If I could just go and then change your vertebrae in your neck, everybody doing jiu-jitsu would be dead. People are cranking on my neck like crazy. I'd be a paraplegic. That does not exist, okay? Your spine is pretty rigid. Pretty dang rigid. That's why if you have scoliosis, they put rods in your back and literally bolt it in place, because no manipulations can really change your, like, you know, vertebrae, like, alignment. And then, sorry, I got a little carried away there. Just, here's how you know they're scam artists. Go to a chiropractor, have them take an x-ray. They'll say your spine's out of alignment. I need to fix that. Have them adjust you. Be like, hey, is it fixed now? And then whenever they say yes, go to another chiropractor, and then he's going to take an x-ray and be like, oh man, this is all messed up. You're going to have to come back. I'm going to have to fix all this. Like, it's these hustlers, dude. But apparently hustling doesn't make that much money anymore.
And apparently, I don't know what happened when he was going through school, but I don't think the loan that he was given, it seems to have been miscalculated or something. I really don't know. It seems excessive. But so what I'm looking at, we had to put it into forbearance. We had just moved down to Jacksonville. He found a job here, and they had wanted $519 a month, calculated based on the $78,000, and we just couldn't afford that. So we put it into...
They couldn't afford the $500 a month? Oh my, dude, this loan's never getting paid off.
Forbearance for a year. So starting in June of next year, we'll have to make payments on it. So we have a year between now and then.
To get his income up.
What was that?
I said to get his income up.
Uh-huh.
Well, he's got to build this practice and build it quickly. He has a disaster on his hands.
Well, see, he's working for someone else, and we really don't have the money, and I don't know that we would be able to get a loan from a bank at this point to start his own practice. I mean, is there any way that you can conceive with him making the money that he's making now, that there's some way that we can put a dent in this?
He might be able to get a loan if he can pump up his income, which means he's got to hustle more people. Pretty unethical. But he has to hustle more people to show the bank that he's like a profitable chiropractor. And then they should be able to give him a business loan if he just tells them, like, hey, I do have all these student loans, but it's income based, okay? So I'm going to make sure you guys are paid off. But even then, yeah, they're going to see that big balance and be like, this guy might get squeezed pretty hard when he already owns this much. And it might be a problem for him to get out a loan. Or the better situation for him is, this is a fun thing you can do in medicine, is you go, hey man, I just want a partner. And then the bank will base the loan mostly off the practice that's already existing, which they like to do anyway, because it's, you know, a steady stream of income for them. But I don't know how the chiropractor business is. Maybe they're like, nah, this is my hustle, dude. You gotta hustle somewhere else, man.
No. You can put a dent in it, but it's going to be a tiny little dent because you have a tiny little income with in comparison to this ridiculous amount of debt. And so he has to build his income up. A good chiropractor can get up into the 150 range.
I was about to say, yeah, but that's pushing it. And you probably have to own your own practice. That's the problem.
Of income.
Right.
It may take him a little time, but that's the answer to your equation. It's going to, you can kind of keep this thing afloat for a while, but he has made an unbelievably large mess. And he's going to have to work all the time.
I don't even know if he can pay that. I mean, like I said, he would have to get in. Like, he would have to become a partner at a practice. There's just no way of paying it off. But then again, he's a chiropractor. I have a vendetta against them. But either way, so let's go to the last video here. This is a interesting video. I don't even know what to say, because apparently someone found a loophole to all the insane debt. All the insane debt. You don't really have to pay it off, guys. Apparently you don't have to pay off student loan debts. Let's take a look. Look at this principal. Look at this interest. 50 loans, guys. 50 loans. Original amount 166. Total balance. This thing is almost doubled. Almost doubled. And look, the principal, so she's putting this into forbearance. So some of the interest has reprincipled. I mean, insane loan balance here. Okay? And then what we're going to do is take a look at what this lady has been doing. She works in HR. She did all of this to get an HR degree. And then, of course, what are we doing with our free time? We're going to Disney World in Paris. We are going to Disney World in Paris. This account, okay, broke my brain. Because obviously she has tons of debt. She's never paying it off.
So we're in Belgium, and instead of the typical come and eat chocolate and sightseeing, I decided to bring the kids to the Mundo Pixar Toy Story experience. Was it really for them? Technically, yes. Did they enjoy it? Not really. But me, I had the time of my life. I walked in and immediately turned into a kid again. Like, come on, they had Buzz Lightyear, Woody, and Forky. I was ready to scream, cry, and reenact the scenes from the movie. Meanwhile, the kids are over here like, can we go now? And I'm like, absolutely not. I really didn't care what they said. This whole experience was magical. I really needed this. My inner child needed this, and honestly, that was enough.
So she owes all this money, right? She's now like almost $300,000 in debt to be an HR person. She's taking her kids on fancy vacations. She even admits they don't care. Kids do not care about this stuff. Sure, it might be fun, but kids, almost anything's fun. Okay, you took me to laser tag as a kid, and I was like, this is the coolest thing on planet Earth. And it was like this junky laser tag place that was right by my house. Okay, you don't need to take them on these fancy things, but it's the parents. This is all for parents. And then they're like, oh, well, I'm doing it for my kids. Like, if you ask her later, she's like, oh, well, I took my kids here, I took my kids there. But it's not for them. It's for you. So she's spending money on all these fancy vacations. However, she doesn't have to pay them off. She actually doesn't have to pay them off. Look, I'm going to go to her profile here. And see, the key here, okay, is she is a traveler. She lives in Germany now. So I looked it up. I was like, wait a second. Is there any penalties for this? No. You don't have to pay the loans off. In a sense, she just can't come back to America and do anything in America. But if she moves to Germany, she won't owe any money. She can put her loans in forbearance and pay nothing, because if she's making under than $120,000 a year, for the United States federal income tax, you don't have to pay anything because it's like a foreign tax credit, foreign income tax credit, which she probably makes over 120, especially in Germany. They don't pay as much for HR. So she technically has zero income on her U.S. income statement. She uses that to go to the loan companies and be like, hey, I make no income, put me on an income-based repayment system. So she doesn't have to pay anything on her student loans. And then if she just lives in Germany, they pretty much never come after her. As long as she doesn't have a house or anything in the US and she just moves to Germany, boom. So you can take out all these loans, move overseas, get a job, and yeah, that's it. The absolute greatest money glitch ever for student loans. You guys can just rob the United States government and there's nothing they'll do about it. Not responsible, not ethically right, especially to be like calling yourself a traveler. And I mean, look at these videos. It's just all going out. Sorry, let me put it back up. It's just all going out, doing fancy things. Of course, we got to go to Disney as much as humanly possible, guys. We have to. Traveling all over the world while we owe tons of money. But there's no penalty for it. Why wouldn't she do it? I mean, it's kind of crazy, but you can't blame her. Hey, another student debt video. Everybody loves these. Like and subscribe, guys. If you want me to do a dev video on something else, let me know. The truck video was good, even though I couldn't find enough trucks. It was just cars. But thanks for watching. You guys know I love it. All right, bye.